everybody. Welcome to Tabletop Bob. My name is Bob. I'll be your Dungeon Master for tonight's episode of Vecna, Eve of Ruin. And we've got, oh my gosh, it's new people here. You're not CJ and Dasha and...
Certainly not.
No, you're not the rest of the Supernatural 20 crew and like Bear and Dobby. What's going on here? This is so strange. Who are you all? We'll find out soon. But of course, in real life, we've got Jeff, Stefano, Mike, Christian, and Tim here on the stream with all of us. Good evening to everyone here on the YouTube stream. Always happy to see the chat bustling before we even get in here. Welcome. I see some of the typical crew here. We've got Wayne, D&D Mom, Chris from Long Island, just to name a few. Shout out if you're here, everybody in the chat. And also, do me a favor, if you can. Since this is chapter 2 of the campaign, I feel like this... I'm hoping that there's no confusion with like thumbnails and things like that. I decided to put the thumbnails being the people's faces for this one, just because it ends up being so different from chapter to chapter. I didn't want to have just like a generic title there. So you'll be able to see the people in it. But in case this is confusing, like this video, subscribe to the channel, do all the good stuff if you haven't done so already. We're going to talk about a lot at the intro, the onset here. So stay tuned. But first, how have you all been? It's been quite a bit since some of you have been on the channel. Mike, we were just chatting off stream. It's been 2 years?
I think so, yeah.
Wow, look at this. So what we're going to do is we're going to go around the horn here, and we're going to talk about who we are. We're not going to talk about who we're playing today, all right? So don't give that away yet. But we are going to talk a little bit about each other and how we've been doing in the last, sometimes, years since you played on the channel. And... what maybe you've played here? What have you been on? Which campaigns have you played in? Again, no spoilers yet. But we're going to start with, I think we'll go opposite around the horn. We'll start with Jeff. Because,
Okay.
Jeff, you've been on recently.
Yeah, we wrapped up a sort of short run reunion of Keep on the Borderlands about a month ago. And that was the last time I was on the channel. Other than that, I think on the channel I've done a bunch of one shots, but I think that's the only campaign that I've done on stream.
Right, you Keep on the Borderlands, and of course the reunion, which you just mentioned, was In Search of the Unknown.
Yes.
And we'll touch more on that when we get into the game, because In Search of the Unknown feeds kind of right into this. So it should be fun.
So it's not too hard to figure out who I'm playing.
That's right. You're playing that one wizard from that one shot.
Yeah, from Candlekeep.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
It's going to be great.
Yeah.
Going to be great.
Yeah. Yes.
Actually, I do remember a character from Candlekeep. You had that halfling fighter.
He was a halfling fighter, a battlemaster fighter, and he was pretty fun because we got to play a higher level character. I didn't have to level him up. And he had lots of tricks to gum people up.
Wasn't he also a chef or something like that?
Oh, he may have been.
I feel like you had a pan with you or something.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and watch that again. That was a fun character.
It's weird, the things you remember.
The trick was he was a lot of fun at like level 14.
Yeah.
But getting him there would have been painful.
Yeah, well, maybe you're playing him tonight, and this is going to be your chance.
So.
It's your chance.
Wouldn't that be fun?
And also, joining you from, I guess it would be the In Search of the Unknown crew, not too long ago crew, Tim, how's it going?
What's going on, everyone? Some people have been on the stream in 2 years. I've been on about 24 hours. So, I'm with it all the time.
Teacher's pet.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, Tim, of course, you're in Curse of Strahd.
Yeah, we played last night, so I've been in Curse of Strahd. I was one of the OGs in Descent to Avernus way back when. And then like Jeff and I think a lot of other people have done a handful of Candlekeep mysteries, and so I'm definitely not reprising my gnome cavalier and trusty badger that Bob killed off. Rest in peace, Clementine.
Yeah, I killed a lot of characters in Candlekeep. There was no mercy there.
Oh yeah,
no mercy. Great, awesome, and Tim, like you mentioned, Curse of Strahd season 2 kicked off last night, and Stefano, some of the people are saying best episode of the series. Am I correct?
Certainly what I was saying.
I think that's what people are saying.
Sophomore slump here. We're going strong.
It's possible that Dasha also said the same thing.
She's an avid watcher. Yeah. I have to recap with her. Usually she does give me her insight on the episode. I think the season that we like this campaign actually with the first group, like Strahd, they kind of just slipped right back into those characters, and that was the cool thing to see. You guys did a great job with the role playing last night. So if you're interested in checking out what I consider a phenomenal Curse of Strahd campaign, check out season 1, and season 2 just started, so you have time to catch up. We'll jump over to Christian.
Awesome. Hey, Christian here. It's been a while since I've been on the live stream. Part of the just like Tim started
Yeah.
my D&D career on Avernus. First time I like ever played D&D there, and that led into all these supernatural 20 and Candlekeep campaigns. I think the last long campaign was Wild Beyond the Witchlight was my
Yep.
last big one.
Yep. And nothing like doing it live, right? Playing your first
Right.
D&D campaign and then just throwing it on the internet.
Yeah, it's just being like you have to be on camera now, and I was like, I
Yeah.
have no idea what I'm doing. I
Yeah.
still
None
feel
of
like
us
that.
Yeah. And Christian, like you said, you've had some one-shots, but you do have some notable characters from a variety of longer-standing campaigns. So we'll be interested to see who you're playing tonight.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Mike.
Hello, everybody. So, give me a second. Let me mute that.
Yeah.
That is my monitor because I have 2 sleeping children upstairs and I'm the only one home. So, hopefully, they don't wake up.
That's great.
Uh,
Gotta love live
Awesome.
D&D, though.
Yeah, so I last time I played in a game was Candlekeep, which was about 2 years ago. I think I did 2 or 3 of the no, not Candlekeep. I'm sorry, Beyond the Witchlight. I've done 2 or 3 characters on Candlekeep. So I guess there is a plethora of individuals you could pick from that I played on this channel.
Yeah. And also,
Um,
you had 2 characters in Wild Beyond the Witchlight.
That is true. One of them turned to stone very early into the campaign.
Mm. Yeah. That happens quite a bit on the channel. It's a common trend.
Tim got eaten by a frog.
I feel like we should make like a running tally of all the ways characters have died in
Ooh.
Bob streams and see who wins at the end of this like session.
I
End
think
of
I
this campaign.
have.
I
I
feel
think
like
I
I'm
have,
at 2 or
um,
3 character dead from Bob's campaign so
Yeah.
far.
In fact, actually, now that I'm
Yeah.
thinking about it, all of you have had what I would consider a pretty important character death in your campaigns.
Yeah.
This group, especially, actually, now I'm thinking about it. I'm looking at all looking at all you. Each of you had like a major character die in a big campaign.
Or 2.
All right, guys, we're gonna get the TPK this time. We're gonna
Oh,
wrap
Thanks,
it out.
Bob.
That's right.
Let's
This
go for the home
episode,
run.
everybody dies.
Wow.
Vecna wins. The
Clean
end.
sweep.
This is only a one shot, turns out, you know.
It's interesting. The other group, I think, had a lot of people who have never died. That's interesting.
What
Wow.
would be
Must be
hysterical is if we totally TPK in a way that hands the victory to Vecna tonight and completely derails Bob's entire
Oh.
plan for the next 6 months.
Let's
Game
do
over.
it, guys.
How can we hand Vecna all 5 Infinity Stones
Oh no.
tonight?
That would be
Let's do-
something.
Let's do it. Give everyone a couple Wednesdays off.
There you go.
There you go.
Fair enough. Fair enough. We do have
Bob's
one last
been looking
person here
forward
on
to
the
this
stream.
Let's all join with Vecna.
Oh.
There we go. Yes.
Okay, there are a couple of characters from the group that are coming back. I've mentioned this on social media and I've talked about it. There's 33 characters being reprised throughout this campaign. There are a few that would not shock me. So we'll have to see where, if and when they come into the fray. But Stefano, we have you, and of course we just said you played in Curse of Strahd, so you've been on the channel recently. But what else have you
Yeah.
been in?
What else have I been up to?
Yeah.
Coaching cross country.
That's right. Represent.
But are you talking about on the channel?
Yes. hmm
Oh, well, I've been in a bunch of campaigns. I was also in Descend to Avernus back in the day when the channel started. I think I was in the first long form campaign, Icewind Dale. Speaking of, well, let's not talk spoilers, but may have played 1 or 2 characters there. Who knows?
Listen, that's like almost 4 years old at this point, that game. So
I know. I was also in Spelljammer, and I was in the Star Wars thing. No, Star Trek.
Star Trek. Yeah, yeah.
And of course, no one can forget when I played Barty of the Everard family.
That
The unforgettable character Barty in that one shot.
yeah, it's one we
That's the
can't
one
get out of
everyone
our
remembers.
yeah, we can't get that one out of our memory, no matter how hard we try.
But certainly most recently as Canas in Strahd.
And it's funny. I actually I didn't think about that. Like some of you have played in other systems here on the channel, whether it was Shadow Dark or Call of Cthulhu. You played in the Star Trek Adventures one. Those ones, obviously, we won't be having your Star Trek characters come back in this one, but
That
we
would
can
be
dream.
cool.
We can dream. So let's get down to business here. Before we play, I've got a couple of reminders for everyone. Like we said, check out the rest of the channel's info. Looked in description for things. There's descriptions. The descriptions are going to change about midway through. We will be posting the character guide or the update to the character guide. So if you're like, oh, I'm going to be clever and go back to chapter 1 and press on the link, it will not show the characters are playing yet. Once they are revealed, we will be displaying it. I think Dasha will be she's in the chat, I think, and she's going to be posting that once everybody's in. And then, of course, I'll put it in the description at the end of the adventure, because otherwise I will forget if I don't do it tonight. So we'll do that, and check out everything else on the channel description below for ways to support the channel. Yeah, that's it. Your characters and maybe even you yourselves, don't know anything about what happened in Chapter 1. Has anybody... I didn't necessarily tell you to watch it or not watch it. I don't think it necessarily matters. But has anybody seen Chapter 1 or any part of it?
I have.
You have? Okay. How much have you watched? Just curious.
I've watched. I got all of it.
Wow. Okay. Great.
Um,
Extra inspiration for you. Just kidding.
Okay.
Just
Marking
kidding.
it right now.
Teacher's pet.
Stop it. No, and like I said, it's probably best maybe that it doesn't really matter. I think the way this is working, it won't affect your gameplay. But we'll see. We'll see. If Stefano cheats, then we'll have to kill him.
I have to step away for 1 second to make sure a child didn't wake up.
Go for it. You go. Yeah. And for everyone else, are you ready to start?
Yep. Now that Mike's gone, let's go.
Let's go.
Everybody talk about Mike.
Perfect. Hopefully the first scene is with Mike's character.
It's actually not, and it's good that he's not going to be missing anything. But I'm so happy to get Mike back. I know Stefano and Jeff, you've played with, we've all played together in a real life campaign before the channel.
In Mike's campaign, in Mike's Illustria campaign.
That's right. In fact, I think
Mike is the writer of Illustria, right?
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
my gosh. Yes.
You didn't know that, Tim?
I did not. I've heard of Illustria, and I played the Illustria setting, sort of, via Keeping the Borderlands. I did not realize Mike was of Illustria fame.
This is
Mike Illustria. Yeah.
Wow.
This is Mike.
And he's not even here for you to have this little fanboy moment.
When he gets back, we're not going to say a thing. No one say anything.
Of course not.
Okay.
So this will be a little present for him when he watches this back.
Exactly.
Oh, that's great.
Don't say anything in chat, anybody.
That is great, actually. Yeah, it's so funny. Yeah, Mike, of course, over the last 4 or 5 years, I would say Mike has DM'd for me more than anybody in.
It's Mike. It's Mike.
There he is. So anyway.
Oh, and it's the dog. I've forgotten the dog's name. What's your dog's name, Mike?
This is Tank. He's the last dog I have left. I had 3. He's the only one
my
left.
goodness, I'm so
Weird
sorry.
now.
But he's
Oh my
adorable.
goodness.
But he's adorable.
Yeah.
Mike, we didn't talk about you at all while you were gone. Just letting you know that.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Okay,
You'll
good.
just have to watch to see if we did.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Let's do this. Ready to jump into Vecna, Eve of Ruin, Chapter 2, Episode 1.
You go.
Yes.
Okay, good.
I didn't realize that was a question.
I was waiting.
I thought it was rhetorical.
No, we don't do anything rhetorical here, Jeff. It's all literal.
It's all
Gotta
literal.
know.
Okay, very good. No metaphor.
No metaphors. But here we go. And as always, let me know, everyone, if you hear the music levels, and more for the viewers, if the levels need to change at all. But I've just started it now, so it should be coming in. Okay. So The adventure is going to start in a unique location. This is going to be something that I think people who've watched In Search of the Gnome will have recognized. Jeff and Tim, your characters, Skeggy and Eric, have just awoken. You look around you, and the obelisk is shattered to pieces. But you're not in the same place. You see the pieces of the obelisk, but this cavern that you're in looks completely different. Plus, all of your companions of the Char Coalition, they're gone. The only person that seemed to tag along with you was the tiefling Sable. Skeggy, you wake up first, and you look around. You see Sable's body. She's kind of like strewn about the rubble, kind of like in an awkward position, clearly injured. You know, she was weakened already, her strength being sapped from her, so she does not look good. However, you look over and you see Eric, and Eric is also in his tiefling form before he wakes up. Eric, when you wake, you notice your body. What do you do?
It's just the three of us right now, and Sable's still
Correct.
knocked out.
Correct.
I would like to immediately use my illusion to revert back to a more innocuous form.
Okay. You turn back into your human form that most everyone would recognize. But Skeggy, you 100% caught a full glimpse of him before he woke up. I'm not sure if Skeggy ever has.
I think I have.
Just in
pretty
the
sure-
finale
I think you
of
knew about it, definitely.
yeah. Okay.
But we've all just like totally pretended. It only came up at times when we were otherwise occupied.
Right.
What's a little illusion between friends?
That's right. He's a human. They're deceitful anyway. So
Yeah. I'll give you a little bit more of a description about this cavern that you're in, and then I will let you decide what you'd like to do. But the chamber, the air of this chamber is pretty cold. I would say it's not like frigid temperatures or anything like that, but it's cold. You recognize it immediately. Very different different climate than what you're just in. The rock around you, also you can notice like some some glowing fungi. That's like patches of it all over the cavern, giving just a slight, small hint of light. And once you pull yourself to your feet and maybe move Sable to a more safe position, you hear footsteps coming towards you. Heavy footfalls that echo through the cavern. What do you do?
quick question before we address that. When I checked out Sable, as I recall, she's more she's not injured so much as afflicted.
Exactly.
So didn't we determine that just giving her hit points is not going to solve her problems?
We have. We said basically
Okay.
her strength is the equivalent of 2.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
So
Just
you hear the
wondering.
footfalls coming. There's no
I'm hearing
place
the
to hide
footfalls.
in
Is-
here.
No place to hide.
It's a small cavern, like maybe 40 feet in total, but it does go up pretty high. The height of the cavern goes probably even beyond your dark vision. Although maybe Tim, if your dark vision's a little more, I'm not sure, but if it's 60
not
feet,
more than 60
okay.
feet. No.
Yeah, it goes even beyond your dark vision. But the obelisk that would have been at the center of this chamber is shattered into small fragmented pieces all around you. So really, there's no cover. There's no place to hide. Just maybe a small 2 or 3 foot stump of the obelisk at the base.
That sounds like good cover to me.
Maybe for a
I'll-
Skeggy, yeah.
I'll jump behind that.
Give me a stealth check.
Okay. Oh, jeez, haven't played in a month. I have to remember where all my stuff is.
That's right.
25.
Nice. You duck for cover behind the shattered obelisk.
And I'll
Obviously.
knock a quarrel in my bow just in case.
Perfect. Tim, does Eric try to do something? Prepare a spell?
Yeah. Can I use my invoke duplicity? So there's now seeing that there's definitely not room for two of us to hide behind that, there's now two Erics,
Sure.
one duplicate and one real.
Yep.
And I want to stand on either side of Sable.
Okay, great. So Sable's body kind of lies maybe just to like the east of the obelisk, and you stand flanking her.
She's unconscious?
Yes.
Okay.
The footsteps come. There's only one like pathway into this chamber, and once the creature enters into your vision, you can see it looks like a dwarf. And I think I described this at the end of In Search of the Unknown, but it's a dwarf. Short, solid figure. His eyes are dark, but yet they still glitter in the glow from the fungus. He's got pale gray-blue skin. He looks very different than any dwarf you've ever seen. And at this point, he curls his lip into like a grim frown. He's not even really looking at you, Eric. And he says, "Destroyed," he mutters. "This is a weapon that could have been used." And then he turns his direction to one of the duplicates, and he says, "What'd you do to this place? You've ruined it."
We've done nothing. Where are we?
You're at the Whirlstone Monolith.
Excuse me?
Whirlstone.
Is
Do you even
that
know what
anywhere
you
near-
destroyed? Do you even know?
No. No. I don't think we've met.
Who are you?
And both duplicates extend hand, like as a handshake in a very Alice in Wonderland, two guards in a door manner, and say, "We're Eric Lavernus. Who are
you?
You can see he has a dagger at his side. He doesn't look like he's a dwarf, so he does look rather muscular, but he doesn't look like he's ready for battle. He's not wearing armor. In fact,
Sure.
Maybe think he's maybe some sort of an arcanist, because he's got what looks like a spell pouch at his
More
side.
sage.
Yeah, but he's wearing like adventurer's clothes, like an explorer's clothes, and maybe he has a backpack. He doesn't look like he's going to Hogwarts or anything like that. So he reaches down towards his, pack there, grabs a couple of things, and he's going to start preparing a spell. He doesn't say much.
Hold on there before you start casting spells willy-nilly. My cohort and I, my companions and I, there was about 5 of us. You didn't happen to see one on the way back through here? A short one, a taller one, a paladin one. There's a whole bunch of us around here.
There isn't anyone for miles.
What are you doing here then? What am I? What Whirlstone?
I've searched for this place for years, just to find that somebody beat me to it.
I want to look around the room, both duplicates, and there's not much to it.
So he's going to take his spell components, and he's going to begin to cast something. Do you try to do anything, or?
I'll pop up from behind the thing with the crossbow trained on him. No, lad, you don't want to be casting spells willy-nilly. Not when you're outnumbered.
You see him grit his teeth, and he's like, "Who do you work for?"
Definitely not with her. And both duplicates at the same time want to kind of nudge Sable with their toes.
She just like moans. She's like, grabbing at her side, grabbing at her stomach. And then he realizes that she's hurt. He wasn't really paying attention to her at first. And he looks around and he says, "You're not with the Loth cult, are you?"
We are not with any cult. We're here quite by accident.
Then what affiliation are you with?
I'm Skeggy, son of Scorin, Baron Thane of the Troll Slayer, delving. That's my only affiliation.
We came from the keep.
What keep?
The keep on the Borderlands. The only keep for miles.
The
Miles
border
that
of
you
which
supposedly
lands?
traverse?
Which lands are you referring to?
Borderlands.
It doesn't matter. He puts away his pouch, and you see he grows in size almost immediately, almost as if it was instinctual to do it. He literally like triples his size. He's now towering over all of you. And he'll walk over towards Sable, pick her up, and say, "She needs help soon or she'll die."
That I agree with. Can you do anything for her?
I might. Or at least know people who can. Perhaps,
Careful with her. She's a tricksy one.
I'm sure she is. He says to you, "The name's Iron Teeth. Torkner Iron Teeth. Perhaps us meeting was more fate than anything else. Follow me." What do you say?
I'll shrug at Skeggy and start to follow him.
All right, then.
Right. He's going to take you far away from here. In fact, as you travel, you do notice that through this like what seems like an endless maze of cave networks, that he does know where he's going. He's like planned this out, and you can see he's maybe left some small little arcane marks, things like that, sigils around the walls to help him follow. And otherwise, there's no way you would have been able to escape this maze of caves. But eventually, you're going to have to rest. Like I said, you're in a cave network, and that maybe have taken him days to get out of. So maybe you don't speak much in this first moment, but once you get a chance to rest and Sable comes too, you're sitting around like a campfire. And he says to you all, "We're in the Whirlstone Maze. This is a place called the Underdark. I assume you haven't been here before."
Have I heard of the Underdark?
No.
Being a dwarf? No? Okay.
No. Well, maybe you have in your own world, but this is
Right.
it does seem like every place he's mentioned has been unfamiliar to you. No need to even make a history check.
You're
Okay,
making
no,
up words.
Okay. I just wondered if dwarves might have some sort of particular, at least legend or lore in their
Well,
culture regarding.
You know,
the
we do
Underdark.
have the primary author of Illustria here. Mike, is there an Underdark in Illustria? You're muted. You're muted.
I've got the YouTube channel open. I like clicked the unmute button on YouTube. Not this.
No worries.
Yeah, there's an Underdark. It's more filled with rat people than drow, but there's an Underdark.
Right. The Skaven-esque type people. Okay, so then yeah, that would definitely be more of what you're familiar with, Skeggy.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm not presuming anything other than like, you know,
Mm-hmm,
folklore level knowledge about it.
And,
No personal experience.
And just to let everybody knows, if there's any Keep on the Borderlands fans here in the chat tonight, if you have questions for Mike, now's your time. Okay, you got 4 episodes with this guy. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Hey, I'll plug my content. I'm writing a novel. I posted a link to it on the Discord. I'll post a new one. I got 2 new chapters up.
And I will post
There
it.
you go. There you go.
I'll post it in the description too of the videos.
Sweet.
Yeah, cool, awesome. All right, so yeah, you probably have heard of the Underdark, but it sounds and looks very different in practicality in your world. So he says, "Look, it's clear that obelisk did something to all of you, brought you here for a reason. In fact, it destroyed itself to bring you here. I can't help but think this is a sign.
Why would a stone bring us here?
I don't know.
We were kicking around some dusty ruins looking for a crystal, and suddenly we're here.
I don't know. He says, but I think this might be perfect. This might be exactly what we need. Sable finally comes to, and she's like sitting around the fire. She's very weak, still strength score super low. And she says, I've been to the Underdark before. And he's like, you have you? Well, just below Waterdeep. Not too far down. More the Upper Dark. And he's like, well, we're headed to Skullport. That's where I have some friends. That's where they could find someone who can bring back your strength. And she's like, thank you, I much appreciate that. I'll stick with you all until we get there, but perhaps that's where I will make my goodbye. I do appreciate Skeggy and Eric for all you've done for me. I don't know if I would have gotten out of Quascatim without you.
You dragging us to a new place doesn't make me feel better about you leaving.
Oh, Eric, you and I, we have far much more in common than you think.
Eric kind of unwillingly blushes and says, I simply don't think that's true.
I give him a side eye.
You know exactly.
Dismiss the duplicate at this point. I don't think it lasts that long.
Yeah. This is like, we're talking like you've traveled for a few
Yeah,
hours now. He says, it's going to take us a few weeks to get there. He says, but in the meantime, I'll fill you in on what's going on. And basically, I'm just going to summarize some of the conversation here. In your journey, you get to know this Dwergar. That's what he tells you. He goes by. He's a dwarf, but they are very much different than the traditional dwarves that you would recognize, Skeggy. And he says that here is a place called the Forgotten Realms. The Faerun is what they call it, really, their realm. And the place they're headed to is underneath one of the biggest cities. It's called Waterdeep. But you're headed to, basically it's called the Undermountain, which is under Mount Waterdeep, which is like one of the first entryways into the Underdark. And it's a pretty rough place. You maybe share stories of your adventures. So he's like, I feel like based on what you've told me, you'll be able to handle yourselves here. But, this is a rough place. For everybody who doesn't know, if you're watching, it's kind of like the Mos Eisley of like the Underdark of D&D. It's just a unsavory place.
Wretched hive of scum and villainy.
That's perfect. Yeah, I should have quoted that too. Yeah, exactly. So this is basically the information he gives you, and he's part of a coalition. I shouldn't have used that word, actually. He's
Gonna say a Char coalition?
he's not part of the Char coalition.
Are we recruiting?
Always.
Except
geez.
not Man Bun.
Yeah.
Oh.
Let's see here. I will tell you, though, a few things about him.
What is his haircut? That's the most important question.
He is completely bald. You can see like his blue skin underneath, and he's got a white, scraggly beard. It's definitely not as big as Skeggy's beard. It's kind of like patchy, not nearly as robust. But he tells you, I'm part of a resistance. It's called the Companions of the Dark. He says there's a group of elves, dark elves here, they're called the Drow, and they are taking over. They're worshippers of a evil spider goddess named Lolth. And this group has become more militaristic over the years, especially as of late, the last decade or so. There's been quite a bit of violence, and many parts of the Underdark are now filled with her followers. So he mainly fights against them. And that's kind of like the gist of what he gives you. You'll be traveling along with him, and over the next few weeks, you'll finally eventually come to the place called Skullport. Do you have any questions that I can answer at this point?
Do we go through other settlements along the way, or is it literally just weeks of trekking through tunnels without seeing or hearing from anyone?
No, you will go for maybe like maybe like 10 days without seeing anybody. That's how remote the Whirlstone Maze was. Like I said, he spent years trying to find the place because he was hoping that that obelisk would be a weapon that he could use against the Lolth cult.
Okay. Now, did you say it's the what stone monolith?
Whirlstone.
World?
It's Whirlstone.
World. Okay.
Whirlstone.
I thought you said world stone at
Oh,
first,
okay, gotcha. Sorry.
which
Yeah,
also
it's
made
clarified.
sense to me. So,
Okay.
Diablo.
yeah.
True.
Okay. So what kinds of other people do we run into on the way? Just to
You'll find some
get an
small
idea.
little, you'll find some small, once you get into like a more populated area, you'll find some small outposts, friends of his. He'll purposely go what he tells you would be like he's going the long route so he can avoid areas where Lolth cult civilizations would be. He says there's also some places where the Drow exclusively live, like Menzo Berenzon, which is a hive city of Drow. And you don't go anywhere near that place. And he's like, nobody ever goes near that place, or at least if you want to live. So, but he says, if you know how to get around here, he's like, it's not so bad. It just takes time because every path has been carved out. Some say that the paths were carved by ancient gods fighting, or the aboleths, these evil creatures that live in the most bottom part of the Underdark. Many years ago, they carved out these burrows, and now they're sometimes major trade routes and roads connecting various civilizations. So he gives you the the Underdark 101 as you head down or head up further.
What sorts of people are we running into? I mean, more
Mostly-
Dwargar or dark gnomes or
You are running into some Snurf Niblin, the deep gnomes.
deep gnomes. That's
Yep,
it.
you are running into them, as well as many Dwergar. Maybe once in a blue moon you see a Darrow, which is a similar type of dwarf, but every Darrow that you've met in one of these resistance groups has been like the crazy one. They're the one that wants to just go gung-ho, guns blazing, shooting up the place. That's what they want to do.
I like
What's-
them the best.
What's my sense of these people? I mean, are they do they seem
Good?
good is a strong word, but how about just not bad?
I have a group that I'm going to you'll eventually will spend more time with. We'll jump to them
Okay.
and I'll describe them.
Okay.
Okay. All right. But for now, we're going to hold you guys here. Okay. Mike and Christian. Mike and Christian, the two of you, your characters are actually together as well, kind of like a pair. You're sitting in the back of a tavern in Skullport. I'm going to describe Skullport to you, though your characters are very familiar with it. Skullport is basically the shadowy underbelly of Waterdeep, buried deep beneath the twisting caverns of the Undermountain. The city is one of lawless trade, treachery, secrecy, and a dark reflection of the world above. Basically, it's a place where you can hire anybody, pay anybody for anything, and morals are cheap. Everything here. Smugglers, slavers, outcasts, you name it. It's got kind of like every power-hungry mage or even people who work for Lords of Waterdeep in secrecy. They're all here, and everybody can find a home in Skullport. The streets of Skullport are narrow, and they make it easy to lose your way. So maybe the first few years you were both here, it took a while. Now, you've also left Skullport. You haven't just been here exclusively, but you've gotten used to the streets at this point. And above you, lighting up Skullport, almost like instant lighting for the city, are skull-shaped figures. They cast like a light green light as they flicker in perpetual gloom above. Everywhere here, there's like these skulls just flying around. And you know not to go and try to test those skulls from time to time. People do, and it's bad. Skullport is dangerous, and you're aware of it. So you know what it's like to be in here. You're not going to get lost or get caught in some random scheme. But you find yourself in a tavern called Gallows Respite. This is your probably your favorite of the meeting houses for the Companions of the Dark, which is the group that you are affiliated with. You're in the back. Mike, do you want to introduce your character? Tell us who you are and maybe a description of what you look like. I forgot to do that for Skeggy and Eric, but we'll do that when you come back in.
Sure. So the character I am playing is wearing a long leather coat. He has a satchel kind of strapped to his side with a bunch of different tools. There's a hand crossbow. He's got packs kind of all over him. Long hair drawn back into a ponytail. And underneath, he's wearing almost professorial kind of like, almost like a sweater vest, I would imagine, kind of thing going on. And sitting with him is a mechanical man, somewhere halfway between a warforged and a golem, cobbled together by all sorts of bits of random pieces of metal and wood. That is who is probably the best description of these two.
Yeah, and your friend, a hobgoblin. He's rather tall and lanky. He's kind of like a wiry type hobgoblin. He wears a dark cloak all the time, even indoors. And he comes into the room and he calls out to you, "Oscar, you ready?"
Already. I mean, I've just sat down. I've been here for 5 minutes? Fine, what?
What have you been working on lately? He seems really intent on your newest invention, your creations.
Well, I've been working on a number of things, but the biggest priority for me is trying to get people to forget my name so I can finally leave this dump.
Always the jokester you are, he says in a spry voice. He says, "And how are you, Charles?" And he smacks Charles in the back of the head, and Charles doesn't speak, right? I mean,
no, Charles just makes whirring sounds.
Yeah, Charles just makes another whirring sound, and he's like moving around, moving crates and boxes, doing some odd jobs around the back room, and then he says, grabbing some sort of fruit, and he starts to chew on it. He's, "Where's Boomy?"
Guess it's as good as mine. It's somewhere. Took me forever to track him down, and he's still as slippery as a snake.
Meanwhile, from the area of the tavern, the door that leads to the tavern, we hear a large cheering. And he steps out and he sees Boomy. Boomy, what are you doing to entertain this crowd? And please describe Boomy for us, Christian.
Yeah, so Boomy is a Asmar cleric. Bit taller, a bit more stockier than maybe people would last remember him from Wild and Witchlight.
Put on a good 20, 30 pounds?
Yeah, he seems to be a little bit more sort of battle-worn. Like, you can tell that he has seen battle. Nothing crazy, but you can tell he's not, he knows a good fight. He sees one. So I think at this point I'm probably in the corner. I'm probably living it up with the group, trying the cheering, dancing, singing some sort of weird underdark kind of song that I probably have no idea what I'm thinking about. But
now, most of the people in the tavern at this point, I'd say half of the people, whether they're Dwergar or the Deep Gnomes, even a random assortment of other surface-dwelling individuals, no drow. Drow need not apply to this place. But the rest of the group, is part of your Companions of the Dark, so they know you, and they're chanting, "The Monarch, Monarch, Monarch." And the rest of the people don't know what that reference is to, but this has got to make you feel good, no?
Oh yeah, I'm like living it up right here. It kind of looks like I'm finally getting sort of the recognition, or like what I set out to do. Like, I'm in my place.
Yeah. If only Mr. Witch and Mr. Light could see you now.
Exactly.
Oh.
If only my fellow companions.
Damn.
Look at me now.
The Monarch. Yeah, so you're living it up, and your hobgoblin friend Oscar, he's now like opened the door, so he's like in the doorway. You hear the crowd's voice echoing through to the back room. It seems Boomy is here. he says with a pretty enthused volume to his voice. He says, "Look, I want the two of you to sit in on a meeting. We've got an opportunity here," he says. "And Torkner's back."
What is this meeting about?
Well, once I saw Torkner, I knew the stars were aligning. You see, he says he's got good news, and he just went to see the Whirlstone, see if he could find the obelisk there. I cannot wait to hear what he found. And if our sources are correct, we have someone coming from Baldur's Gate who is a very powerful individual.
No,
One that could turn the tide of this war.
they don't happen to have tentacles, do they?
No. Trust me. I would know a mind flayer, and he he pulls his hair back, and you remember he's got that nasty scar on his head from that mind flayer attack that happened a few years back. So, no. Brains are staying here right now. He puts his cloak back up, and you've known Makubli is his name. I haven't introduced him yet, but Makubli is a hobgoblin who you've met, I think, the first day you were here. Makubli is he probably considers himself the Spymaster of the Companions of the Dark. You know that that's not true. He's kind of like just more of a rank and file officer. So he's maybe somebody who's in charge of this group here that you're with. But he just kind of has resources. He's one of those people that just knows everybody from wherever they come from. And he's good friends with the two of you. You've been working together for at least, how long has Oscar been here now? Did you decide?
How long has Boomy been here?
Boomy must be here at least 5-6 years, because Wildlands Witchlight ended 10 years in the past.
9 years ago, correct.
9 years ago, so I'm assuming, at least 5.
Yeah, so I've probably been down here about half that time.
Okay, so maybe 2 or 3 years. So for the 2 or 3 years you've been here, you've known him to be a pretty stand-up guy and willing to risk his life for pretty much anybody. All right. So he says, "All right, so what are you working on? What's new invention? Did you make that dog I asked for?"
If there's schematics for this, do you want me to just make it from scratch? Sure. I haven't had a lot of time, with everything else we have going on down here. But if you really are that lonely for companionship, I can make you a little robot puppy.
I would love that. And I have no idea how this works, so I assume you just put it all together with some sovereign glue, and that's about it, right?
Oh, yes, a little bit of chewing gum. It all works out just fine.
Excellent. Oh, here comes Boomy now. Boomy, the door opens, the crowd's cheering. You come inside the back room. You see Oscar. You just got here, but you decided you got waylaid because you were doing some fan appreciation here.
I'm gonna walk in and go, "Oscar, what are you working on? What are you doing?
Come on, Mike, give us what you're working on here."
What are you building here?"
Well, I thought I was inspired by how awful it is down here. So I thought perhaps if I could create a canister that just encapsulated how much it sucked down here and created a vortex, it could be useful. So far, nothing has happened. Do you still use that title, Monarch? I thought we've moved on to democratically elected leaders.
Oh. You and I both know you like it here just as much as I do. Go on.
Yes.
What about that puppy? You building that? You've been working on that for a while. I'm trying my best to get you your puppy. Just
Yeah.
You can see it's a little hard to work with.
Oh, and by the way, I checked on your friends up on the surface. They're still looking for you.
Oh, God. Well, let's make sure they keep looking for me and don't actually find me.
I'll do my annual check-in, soon, next year. We'll see.
If I run into the Blackstaff again, I won't be just hanging out in a bar named the Gallows Respect. I'll actually be in one, so.
Fair enough. I'm hearing a static. Is that maybe my headset, or is it anybody's here? Okay.
I'm hearing it too.
I don't hear
I
it
was
now.
gonna say I'm also hearing it. I wasn't sure if it was me, but if it's
Okay.
not me, it must be the output from somebody.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. I blame Christian. So.
Easy first time back, easy target.
All right, so at this point, we'll pause with two of you. Stefano.
Yeah.
Stefano. I'm so excited right now, Stefano. I'm giddy. Stefano, you are staring at a place called the Gallows Respite. You've been sitting outside for about 2 hours now, just kind of casing the scene. You've met with some people called the Companions of the Dark. You know that you haven't met with anyone of actual power or authority to do anything. Of course, you know your ultimate goal is to get somewhere, and you're hoping that they can be that means. However, you have a meeting with someone who calls himself the Spymaster. And that's the only name you've got, the Spymaster. You've seen people come in and out. What shocked you is you saw an Azamar go into there. This is throwing you off completely because everyone else, every other inhabitant has made sense here. Even the hobgoblin who walked in before him. But the Azamar, that seems strange to you. Can you describe your character and tell us at the end who you are?
So I'm a very tall, I want to say maybe like 6'2", 6'3", man. Pretty well built. Long hair, beard, very light blue, almost silvery eyes. And he walks around with a long quarterstaff that you could swear has crackles of sparks come out of it every time he puts it on the ground.
Ooh.
And I am playing Lucius Ashcroft.
Excellent. Yeah, Lucius has been looking at this place for a while, but your meeting time is coming up soon. Is there anything you want to do beforehand? Is there any method in which you want to enter the building? Do you want to go in before your meeting time? It's really up to you, however you want to play it. But you have maybe like half an hour before you're supposed to be there.
What is the name of the building that I'm looking at?
It's called the Gallows Respite. It's a tavern.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
And you've traveled a long way to get here, but for you, sometimes travel can be pretty quick. Kind of like riding the lightning, so to speak.
Well, you said I've been scouting this area for at least 2 hours, you said?
Yep. Mm-hmm. And everything seems legitimate. Like what they told you, exactly what the description of the place was. They told you to meet around the back. You'll be coming into like a back room, a meeting room. You are welcome to bring one other person with you, but of course you're alone. So it's really up to you how you want to handle this.
Okay. And I know I'm in Skullport.
Oh, yes. You're very aware. And your character has been brought well up to speed on what the Underdark is, and you've probably even been here before. And let's be honest. Do you ever walk into a room and think that anyone here could challenge you? Ever?
Not often.
Not since Avernus.
Yes.
Yeah.
But not often.
Not often.
And when did you say the meeting was expected to start?
Soon, within the half hour.
Okay. I might kind of just scout the area around the Gallows Respite.
Sure. So you kind of take a stroll around, and again, like I said, the streets are windy, and it's all dark roads. Again, the only illumination is really the skulls up ahead. But as you start to head towards the back, you do notice a large group heading that way. You can see a tiefling woman. You can see a dwarf of the normal variety, not Dwergar. And you see a human, and the human also wears like a mask too, covering most of his face. And then you see a Dwergar bringing up the rear. Dwergar looks like a mage of sorts. He's in more traditional clothes at this point, everybody. So, Jeff and Tim, he's more in what you would think of maybe like as a wizard robes, but, he's carrying around his dagger and a spell pouch on the side. And he's following up in the behind. He's kind of pointing out where to go, and he says, right here, right around the corner, to the back. He said, listen, you're going to meet a few people. You're going to meet someone called Makubli Key. He's one of my closest friends. You can trust him. And then you're going to meet someone that everybody calls the Monarch. But he's no royalty, trust me. In fact, I think he's quite lame. And then you're going to meet someone who's very important to this operation. His name is Oscar. He can make weapons of war. In fact, he's got a servant with him, one made of metal and magic.
You are absolutely making things up. There's no way. No way. A servant to metal? Get out of town.
Sable's like, he's just an artificer. It's not that important.
You're making up words again. You're making Underdark, Makuble, Artificer. You're just saying things. These aren't even real words. Get out of here.
It's been weeks.
We've been walking around the dark for weeks. They're losing their mind.
Eric is the ultimate, doubter, naysayer, I will say. He has a good heart, but he does not believe even his very own eyes. I think it's part of his own illusion that he has.
The original skeptic.
Yeah. He really is. So Iron Teeth just finishes saying this, and he says it rather loud. You notice that he doesn't really say anything ever quiet. I mean, he's kind of just got this voice that carries. And Stefano, Lucius hears this whole conversation.
Was I given any points of contact?
You were going to meet someone called the Spymaster, and that's really
that's
it.
what it was. Okay.
Yeah,
and that's
they
all
didn't.
I was told.
They didn't tell you the name, but you have some names of the other people you've met. The other more like, the rank and file members of the companions. So, but anyway, so yeah, you're supposed to meet the Spymaster, and you're supposed to go around back at a certain time, and you're supposed to just open the door. It should be open.
Does it seem like this group is headed in the direction of where I'm supposed to be going?
Exactly, in the back. And you'll see they walk towards the back. Torkner does like a some sort of a coordinated knock, and then the door eventually opens. And you see a hobgoblin embrace the Dwergar, and then eventually shake hands, or however you might want to introduce yourselves to Makubli. But he greets all of you, and then we'll close the door. And you hear the last thing he says, which again, he also has a voice that maybe that carries too. Not great for a Spymaster, but he says, oh yeah, and we got to keep this door unlocked because the contact's coming soon, a few minutes. And then he closes the door.
Lucius droops his head and mutters to himself, Spymaster. Then he walks up to the door.
Great. Meanwhile,
and I will replicate, if I could, the same knock that I heard before.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, you definitely can. Yeah, you definitely can. You go up to the door and you're about to knock, but before that, Jeff and Tim, the door opens and you're greeted by that hobgoblin I described earlier. He gives Torkner a big old hug. In fact, he even lifts his plump body off the floor, and he says, "Good to see you, my friend. I'm so glad that you're alive." And Makubli's like, "What do you mean alive?" He's like, "Of course I'm going to be alive. Nothing can stop me. Come on in." And he says, "Oscar, Boomy, look who's back." And then he looks to all of you. Makubli Key. He reaches out a hand to shake Skeggy's hand first.
Skeggy Sanderskoren.
Ah, nice to meet you. And he goes to Eric. He goes, Makubli.
I'll extend a hand and bow slightly, and Eric Lavernus. Pleasure is all mine.
And who do we have here? He says to Sable. Sable's like, the name's Sable. She says, I won't be with you for long. Don't worry. I'm leaving soon. and she
She
pushes
says
on
that
him.
to everyone. You can ignore her.
she's been saying that for a month.
She
We
walks
can't
on
get
in.
rid of her as hard as we try.
That's right.
You said she
Is-
looks like she's in rough shape,
Is
right?
she's still
Yes.
afflicted?
She's still afflicted. She is in rough shape.
Can I see her from where I'm sitting?
Yep. So this is the back room.
Okay.
Oscar, this has kind of been your like workshop. I mean, the whole place
Well, the
is
room is probably a freaking mess then. This place
Yeah.
is a disaster.
yeah. There's probably tools and nuts and bolts strewn about, and oil slicks and stuff like that. Luckily, this is just like the back room. Like the tavern operates completely separately. There's a kitchen area and all that stuff. So this is just like the back room, and the owner of this place is part of the companion. So he lets you all do meetings here, things like that. So
Yeah, I mean, when you guys would say like when she says like she'll be leaving soon, I'd be like, Oscar would be like, "What from the mortal coil? You look awful." Oh, Monarch, do you want to take a look at that?
Yeah, so I kind of take a closer look, and do I know what she's afflicted with?
well, she looks like she's had her strength sapped away, and she'll
Wow.
explain what happened. She says, "It's the strangest thing. This creature of shadows attacked us repeatedly,
Hey.
and every time it struck, it drew away some of my strength. I feel so weak. It hasn't gone away."
Okay. I kind of go over to Iron Teeth and sort of say, "Do you trust them?"
He says, "Maybe we should chat privately for a moment." And he'll take you aside, and he just fills you in on what you've all just heard in this stream, that he met them at the obelisk. When he says the obelisk was shattered, Makubli, you can see, visibly upset because maybe he was banking on that being a huge weapon in this war. But he gathers himself rather quickly, always putting on a happy face. And he says, "No worries. We have all the answers coming." And then, Stefano, you repeat the knock. What is the knock? You tell me.
Yeah.
Bum,
Bum.
bum, bum, bum.
Bum. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, 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 bum.
Is it this from Viral?
Yes,
All right, great, excellent.
it's
Yeah,
the
so
viral knock.
It's the Viral knock. You bang
It's
on the door.
Actually, I just cast knock.
Oh, damn! So
I'm
the
just
door
kidding.
just
I don't have.
flies
I
open.
don't have knock.
If only, right? You open the door.
Giant booming sound is heard.
You open the door and you see the group before you. And Makubli is like, "Perfect. We're all here." He says, "Lucius, I presume?"
And you must be the Spymaster.
"That's what most call me. The Spymaster." He shakes off his cloak there, and dusts off his shoulders. And he looks to all of you and he's like, "What? He just calls himself the Monarch."
I earned that title.
Yeah,
Does anyone
yeah.
else have, does anyone else have silly nicknames, or can we get started?
I call myself the priest.
I've
priest
never
of
heard you
Ethereum.
call yourself a priest.
I'm the High Priest of Aetherius, and I will be addressed by no other title as His Most Holiness or Most Reverend High Priest of Aetherius.
And
Very
when
well.
you say that, nobody has any idea what god that is.
I am just shaking my ancient head.
Are you a grifter? Did you make a cult?
No, but God, wish I would try. Oh, I wish I could try.
What a good idea.
I look at Makublaki and I say, he's part of the cult.
No. Excuse me. No, Torqueter, right? No. And Torqueter is like, "They're good. I've vetted them." And he's like, "Of course not. Of course not." Now, he says, "Sit down, please." And he just shoves a ton of Oscar's work like off the table, crashes to the floor. He takes out a map and he lays it out. He says, "Our informants say you're from Baldur's Gate. Is this correct?"
That's correct.
What would a surface dweller like you want to fight the cult of Lolth for? You're not the only one who has questions, he says, with a little bit of a snark in his voice.
The Loth cult is everywhere here in the Underdark. I hear they are only up to nefarious things.
They are.
I serve the Archangel, Zariel.
What?
And all I do is good for this world.
Some of the people there have no idea what you just said. Like, I'm sure Skeggy and Eric have no idea what that is.
You're making up more words.
I told you, Skeggy.
Boomy and Oscar.
Yeah, right, Eric. They're making up words.
Boomy and Oscar, do you think that in your travels you would know who Zariel is? If not, I'm totally open to making a history check. I would just basically say you either know it or let's see if you know it.
I can make a roll. We'll make.
Go
a
ahead,
roll.
give me a
That's
history check.
I gotta open up D&D Beyond history. Here we go.
And just call it out because I don't have a Roll20 screen up just yet.
14.
Okay. Christian, what about you?
Yeah, I wouldn't know either. Can I do a history check?
You're not sure if you would know? Sure.
I'm not sure.
You don't.
Wow. How do you have a -4 to history?
Well, I make my own history here. That's why I'm in the Underdark. I am forming my own history.
That's impossible.
These are my kind of
It's
people.
not-
I love this. It's great.
It's not impossible, but it's unlikely.
Yeah. That'd be like Sable.
Wow.
I've been down here for many years, and it's been a
Yeah.
while.
There must be something wrong with your character sheet. There is no way your intelligence is that
I
low.
gotta check. Yeah, let's see.
Maybe
what's up.
in the previous game you had something that lowered a stat and you didn't...
I'm wondering if that's what it is.
What is your intelligence? Just curious. Because if I
has-
remember...
it has to be because right now it's set to 3. I didn't even catch that.
You got the intelligence of a toothpick right now.
Yeah,
There's
so
no way.
so
Actually-
not right.
Hold on.
You're currently immune to most mind controlling powers.
I have met squirrels smarter than your character.
Oh my god, yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
two things.
so-
Number one, we know this is wrong because
Yeah.
Christian rolled the greatest stats in the history of Tabletop
That's right.
Bob.
That's right.
For-
I remember it. Your character had positives in everything.
Yep,
Some of them as
yep.
high as like +5. It was,
That's
Yeah.
right.
and both characters I rolled were awful.
I think
Yeah.
my lowest was like a 14 or
Yeah.
something, or
Oh,
something.
jeez.
He
some
rolled
weird.
he rolled the greatest character, not the greatest character, the greatest stats. Not that Boomy's not the greatest character. Time will tell. But you have incredible stats, so that's got to be wrong.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm trying to figure out why
Okay.
it says 3 here.
All right, you figure that out. We got time before we make our next history check. Though I will just say one thing though. Your character, did you roll low or did you
I rolled a
He rolled in
12.
Oh,
a
yeah.
12? Okay. So I'm
got
going to
it.
say that you
Oh,
know
wait,
just
no,
as
sorry,
much.
I rolled a
11. The die roll was an 11.
my.
I'm gonna-
Yeah.
I'm going to say with a 14, you know just as much as Oscar does.
Okay.
About 20 years ago, maybe 20-ish, maybe 25, you don't know really. You heard of an event that happened in a place called El Terrell. And this event was like a catastrophic thing. Many, like thousands of citizens died. Some say that they literally were pulled into hell, although many of the reports on this have come to be false that you've heard of. But at least maybe the entire town came through some hysteria, maybe some sort of like demonic possession sort of thing, and it's affected them for the past 2 decades. They've had issues in their city because of it. But many of the citizens claim that a archdevil named Zariel did that. So again, you know nothing about who that person is, but you've heard of an event that happened I guess not that far from where you are, but Boomy, were you from Baldur's Gate?
I'm trying to. I'm looking at that now because
I think you were.
I feel like I was definitely nearby.
Yeah, so
In which
you
case,
were
then
nearby.
I would absolutely have known of the event.
Yeah, you would have known of the event anyway
sure.
because it's like you lived, you were the closest city to El Terrell, so you would have heard it.
I feel like at that point of hearing that, my eyes would kind of like squint, almost like, oh, like I got really serious, and you know, enough that Lucius would notice that, that kind of triggered something.
Gotcha. So Lucius, he asked you a question though, and you responded with, Zariel. You were a companion of Zariel, and his eyes go wide. Makubli's eyes go wide, and he's like, "All right, I'm not sure if that's something you should be saying out in the open. Is Zariel not one of the most evil beings?"
Not for quite some time.
Ah. What does Zariel care about the Underdark?
I've dedicated my life since Zariel has turned to doing good in this world. And I have been sent on this mission because the Lolth cult is a threat to the good of this world.
I'm gonna look pretty suspicious, because I'm gonna say we've been petitioning, Marty, for years for help in this issue, and now a companion of Zariel just appears. Like, really suspicious.
Torkner
There
says,
have been other threats in this world that I have had to quell in the time being.
Torkner says, it seems like Plan A failed, so maybe we have to have this servant of Zariel be Plan B. And Makubli finally finishes laying out the map, and he says, you seemed very interested and had some knowledge of Webb's Edge. He raises an eyebrow at you. Very strange that you said Webb's Edge after we've been researching this place for months. What do you know about it?
What do I know about it?
Well, maybe you check your notes. I don't know. Well, but you could also just say simply that you don't know. Just, it's up to you.
I mean, this could be wrong, but I hear there is great treasure there that we can use against the cult.
Some would say that. He says great treasure. Some would. Look, I've already had my informants look into your background. It's a little vague, but there's reports of you being in certain places, defeating great evils. This brings me hope that you'll be on our side. And I'll admit, he looks to Torkner. He goes, I've got a good feeling about this. And Torkner's like, aye. As do I. And he's like, yeah. New friends? He points to Skeggy and Eric. Trusted companions? He points to Oscar and Boomy. And now the servant of an archangel. What do you think, Torkner? And Torkner's like, let's do this. Maybe this will be the final dagger into the spider's heart. And he says, okay. Webb's Edge, and he points to it on the map. It's a very remote area. In fact, maybe, is anybody here familiar with cartographer's tools or map making? Is there anybody have that?
I actually am familiar with cartographer's tools.
Excellent. Just being proficient alone will help you read the map. Is anybody else, or is it just Skeggy? Okay. Skeggy, you look at it, and you can, now that you're got some bearing of this place, you look and you see this is a map of the layers of the Underdark, specifically the Middle Dark. And you came from here. You were just here with the obelisk. I mean, it's like basically saying you know everywhere in New York, but like, it's a huge, vast network. But you're figuring this map out, and as he's describing it, you can tell Webb's Edge is kind of like on the other side of the Middle Dark, kind of the polar opposite of where you just landed.
Okay, can I kind of, now that I see this map, can I kind of orient myself with the route that we probably took to get here?
You can. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
You
so
can
I'm
also give me a
layout of the
check,
place.
and I can tell you if you know even more.
Okay. What would you like?
Just an intelligence check
an
with your
intelligence roll
proficiency.
with proficiency.
Yeah.
Okay. So what
If
have
you
I
want, just make
got?
like an investigation or something. If that's proficient.
I'm trying to see what it's got. If I have, you know what? I'm just going to roll it.
Okay.
Because that's easier.
Yeah.
Roll. Let's say so. My intelligence +2. 1d20
And
plus.
while you're
5.
calculating that, big shout out. Greyhawk Exile says, character guide updated. Gold star for Dasha. Look at that.
Let's go, Dasha. Gets inspiration, is inspiration.
That's it.
Okay. 22 is my roll. Is my adjusted roll.
Yeah, and the biggest thing is that you notice is that where you are is not on the map, because Undermountain is like the closest place to the surface. So perhaps
It's above.
it's above you. If you wanted to, you could maybe escape to the surface, try to find a way out of here. Though I don't know if you want to leave your companions at this point. But you feel like you could figure out how to get out of here to get to the Undermountain and eventually to the surface.
All right. Well, I'll store that knowledge away, but for now I'm just listening and taking in information. I don't
Perfect.
see.
Yep.
Okay. So how far do I think it is to this Web's Edge thing?
It's going to take a few weeks. It's going to take maybe the better part of a month. Mm-hmm.
It's going to take a montage. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So he says, Web's Edge. This place. Very small little outpost of the Lolth cult. Torkner and I, in our spare time for fun, love to pose as merchants. We head out to all the outposts and we try to gather what information the cult will give. I've been to Web's Edge once or twice before, and Torkner's like, aye, as have I. And McCoobly's like, and every time I've gone, I've noticed the same thing. Just a few Lolth worshippers. Just a few people going to pay tribute to the shrine there. I bring them food and reserves and things like that. No weapons of war. Yet our informants have said that shipments of weapons, as well as all different sorts of alchemical materials have been going there, as well as something else strange. Shipments of large lizards. Strange, I know.
That's random.
Very random. And what strikes me even more is that the outpost can't possibly hold more than, 20, 30 soldiers at max. So, what exactly is going on there at Web's Edge? I believe that they're building a weapon. He looks to Oscar. He's like, I don't know what it is, but perhaps a weapon even greater than one you can create. Perhaps Lolth has given them a gift, and they're storing it there.
I wouldn't want to see any weapon from her. It probably has spider legs and 15 eyes in one side of it. It's probably horrifying.
No doubt.
I bet you the lizards are to fuel it. They'd probably grind them into meat and just pour it right in.
Well, if we are going to strike a blow at the cult, we've got to destroy whatever weapon it is. Or maybe use the weapon on our side. And he gets that wry grin that he always has, McCoobly, this eternal optimist. And he says, I think we go to Web's Edge, we win the war. And with you, he points to Lucius, it'll be easy as cake. Or is it pie, he says to Torkner. Pie.
I assume you are in charge of this operation, Spymaster.
No doubt. No doubt, he says.
And you trust all of these people?
With my life, he says.
Well,
Christian.
if you don't mind, I must make sure that I am able to trust all of these people. And I start to cast a spell.
Oh.
Oh, really?
If nobody does anything,
I don't
I
think they
will
can.
cast True Seeing.
Oh, oh boy. You see that Eric Lavernus is no longer a human, and that he is tiefling. What color skin does Eric Lavernus have?
I think you've in the past you said like a
Blue?
like purplish reddish,
Purplish. Oh, purplish red. Okay, gotcha.
Magenta.
like a mauve, magenta.
A mauve.
Good. And
Persimmon.
does anybody else have any things that they might be hiding? Things like that? No? Okay, good. Makubli and Torkner look at each other and they're like in awe at whatever spell you cast. He's like, what else can you do?
Do we all
Well-
see the truth, or does only Lucius?
Only Lucius.
Okay.
Thank God, right?
Well, I can tell you for one thing that this one has something to hide, and I point at Eric Lavernus.
Yes. Yes. Finally, someone's calling out his BS. 50, 60 something episodes with this guy.
No, because Eric's only been around for about 45 of the episodes.
Okay, plus In Search of the Unknown.
You blow my
So
spot
like
that.
50 plus episodes, somebody finally calls him out on his BS.
Bunch of angels show up and suddenly ruin a good time.
Will, will- will
Well,
you
of course
show your true self to these people?
You say that out loud?
I do.
Damn. And Sable is like, what do you mean?
I have no choice. And I will drop the illusion.
I'm just eating popcorn.
She's like, I knew we had more in common than you considered, and she, like kind of like strokes her horns at you.
You and I have very little in common, Devilwoman.
And,
She says, "Oh yeah, and
I
by the way,
look at
Boomy,
Sorry, I look at Makublaki and I say, if that is not a testament to what I offer to this expedition, then I don't know what is.
he slaps the table. He's like, this is destiny." He looks at Torkner. My friend, we found our group. We'll leave in the morning. Rest up. And I'll prepare everything for us. I'll prepare the wagon. I'll prepare the fake cargo. Rest. And he slaps Oscar on the back, Boomy on the back. He gets up.
Please stop
Thrilled.
touching me.
He's thrilled. He gives you a big old massage on the shoulders. You're so tense, Oscar. So tense.
I think Charles would like pick him up and carry him to the other side of the room.
That's fine. He's like, I could use Charles's help. Charles, assist me. Let's load the wagon. Charles moves towards the other side of the room. So he leaves. Torkner is pretty happy and content with himself. He looks to everybody. And then Sable, Christian, do you have restoration, one of the restoration spells?
I do. I'm going to cast Lesser Restoration.
Okay. Since
I
we
think
are
that's-
going to have
I think that's enough, right?
Yeah, since we are going to have a full rest, you could cast as many as necessary to bring her back
Sweet.
to full, and then we'll take a rest. So,
You say we all get a full rest?
full rest, everybody, completely full rest. Actually, don't even worry about full rest, just because
Well,
our full
it's
rest
been-
rules are slightly different. You've been traveling for weeks, so you
Yeah.
have
We're all fine.
100% full. Yeah. Mhm.
Cool. Yeah, I'll do Lesser Restoration, and that should remove whatever strength
Yep.
thing was afflicting her, and then I'll heal her up.
Perfect. And then she says, I think you're going to need someone of my expertise as well. I don't mind going with you to this web's edge, and perhaps with my new invigoration, I might make a name for myself. You'll be with me
Guess
longer,
you weren't
Eric
wrong.
Lavernus.
This one seems to be sticking around, despite the fact just minutes ago she was planning on leaving.
Well, last
I'm telling
night.
you, can't get rid of her.
She says, well, perhaps whatever we encounter will give us enough insight and a way to get you back home. Isn't that right? Isn't that your ultimate goal, to get back to your borderlands?
That
Lady,
is what we would like.
And I'd certainly love to see Barrack Helios one last time.
Keep your hands
Aye.
off him, Devilwoman.
Barrack
Helios is a good man.
But he is subject to corruption. We have
He is a
learned.
good man.
Keep Barrack Helios' name out of your mother
Exactly. I will
effing
walk
mouth.
on that Oscar stage, and you will not say, "Bless the sun," in my presence.
What was
Zane, I
his?
hope
What
you're
was his
watching.
god again? The god of the sun? Was it Lathander?
Hyperius.
Hyperius.
Hyperius. Oh, right. Yes, the other sun god. Yes. Good. Well, I hope to meet him one more time.
Aye.
So, she's gonna go take a rest with her newly gained back strength. The rest of you can stay here in the tavern. You can sleep in one of the back rooms, and you take a long rest. Are we ready to? I think all our characters are pretty much up to date at this point, right? Okay, let's do it. The next morning comes around, and you can see Makubli and Torkner in the stables outside of the tavern. They've got a wagon. In fact, they've got. There are a few wagons, and Torkner is the first. You see them coming. The two of them are talking to each other, and Torkner's like, he kind of waves him off, and Makubli kind of looks. He looks a little like, I don't know. He woke up on the wrong side of the bed, and he's like, "You'll have to deal with Torkner. Pick whichever wagon you want. I don't care." And he goes off to get some food. And Torkner says, "Look, we've got a couple of options here. The Spymaster over there decided to make a few wagons, and we have a choice as to which to bring." So you see the wagons. There are 3 here. One of them is filled with alchemical supplies. However, when you really closely inspect them, the substances are just basically harmless. Like they're just, placebos or, sugar water. There's nothing of substance. Oscar would identify this at just a glance. They are not what they are. Then the other one is filled with all bunch of parchment, looks like scrolls that are packaged together, bundled, as well as spell component goods. Again, most of them being fake. I mean, the paper is real, but any wizard worth their salt can look at them at a glance and say, these are not real. And then the last one is crates that look rather unremarkable. When you open it up, you can see valuable ores that seem to be mined. Though, Skeggy, you can probably, at a glance, tell that this is like the equivalent of fool's gold for, iron ore or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
He packed us 3 duds.
There's no card of like lizard food that we can bring over.
What is lizard food? He says. Flies?
Depends on how big your lizards are.
I don't know what to do, but I'm not too happy about these 3 options.
So what's the plan then? So we're supposed to go to Webb's Edge posing as traders, bringing in these goods that they're allegedly need to build this mysterious weapon.
It's not necessarily goods to build the weapon, he says. Just goods that they've ordered in the past. Just, we don't have actual shipments of them.
Oscar's like scratching his head. He's like, I think I sold all of the supplies to him when I first came down here.
What sort of things are they looking for?
Well, they've ordered all of these things in the past, but look at this. He picks up one of the pieces of fake iron ore and he like rubs it and comes up. He's like, this nonsense.
It's not very convincing.
We'll make it work.
Do you have any suggestions?
Well,
Which cart should we take?
We are
But
not.
Then do any of them matter? They're all useless.
I've not got sufficient knowledge to have an opinion.
How well do the Drow know their spell components? Is that something we could sneak in and the average layperson wouldn't know?
If there's a mage with them, they'll spot the scrolls immediately.
If we do the sort of chemicals, I can perhaps cast light and have it glow when we open the box to make it seem like they're more legit.
I concur with the king. I can also cast illusion.
The king.
That's new. I like this guy.
Please don't. Please
Oscar,
don't.
you can learn a few things.
Just his ego's large enough. We really don't need this.
Spymaster and the king. I like it.
Spymaster? What?
My liege.
What sort of trouble might we be in if our cover is blown right at the entrance?
Well, he says, if our cover's blown at the entrance, we ain't getting in. There's double iron doors blocking off the entryway, and then inside there's another chamber with a shrine with another set of double iron doors.
What are
It's
we
pretty
planning
much a
to do?
fortress.
What are we planning to do once we get inside the fortress?
Makubli comes back outside. He's got some warm beverage in his mug, and he's like, the plan is simple. We head there, we drop off the goods, I'll sweet talk one of the guards, and we'll get in.
And get in and do what?
We attack. We kill anyone we need to, get the weapon, and get out.
The 6 of us versus an entire city of people who
It's
want
a
the
s-
weapon?
It's a small outpost. Like I said yesterday, 20, 30 people max.
Well, it's hard to it's hard to predict what we should do from weeks away, but perhaps a direct assault is not the best plan. We should be open to cleverer options if they arise.
Look, this is the plan I've got. You have suggestions? Fine.
So essentially, we're talking about a Trojan horse here.
Exactly. What's that?
No, that was out of character. I
That's
didn't
okay.
expect him to know what a Trojan
Back where I'm from,
horse
they call it an old keep on the borderlands horse. That's where you trick Bailiff
yes, the,
Utes
uh,
into whatever you want.
The Dalen horse. That makes sense. Yes.
The Dalen horse. Yeah.
Is
the,
there anything else that we could trade or anything that any of us might have that may be better than what we're working with here?
It'll take us weeks to get there. We can doctor it up as needed as we go. Can make it look more convincing.
I
Are we-
certainly
Have
agree
spells.
that
This is-
illusion magic may be a boon.
I mean, this might be unethical, but these are followers of Lolth, right?
I don't think ethics enters into it.
Then we
Ethics
should
has
just
never
grab-
once entered into it.
If we're not using. If the moral codes don't exist for what we're about to do, just grab a bunch of people, tie them up, and there you go. They'll be happy with that.
What?
These are worshippers of the spider goddess. Just give them some slaves. We don't actually have to give them the slaves, but like, they'll be happy to have them.
So Oscar, we're not putting people at risk here for that.
We're already putting ourselves at risk. What's a few more lives?
Makubli is like,
okay.
maybe he's right. Maybe we should have decoys. More people.
It seems this one, I point to Oscar, is volunteering.
I'm already going with you. What do you mean?
gonna say-
We'll tie you up.
Makubli says, good idea. He tosses you some manacles. Put these on.
What is one person going to do? You
I'm gonna-
need an entire wagon full.
Yeah.
Go get some of the weird little dark gnomes and throw them in here.
Torkner says, I know what we'll do. Makubli and I will be merchants, of course. If there's a mistake in the shipment, there's a mistake in the shipment. We'll leave. But we've brought along pilgrims. There's a shrine there, isn't there? And Makubli's like, is there a shrine there? And he's like, yes, there's a shrine. And we can use that to our advantage. You can all be Lolth followers, and we're just waiting for you to make your pilgrimage.
Have you ever sold anything before?
Who you asking? Torkner?
Yeah.
He has. In fact, he's been to Web's Edge before. It's been years since he's been there, but he's posed as a spy, or he's posed as a merchant before.
Are there willing Lolth cultists? Are there are non-elven Lolth cultists a thing?
Yes, they are. Sadly.
I'm gonna turn to Lucius and say, "You're telling me the companion of the Archangel can't get us there safely?" Kind of still super kind of suspicious of him.
If the iron doors go down, I will find a way in.
Until then, all hail Uloth. Pretend to be pilgrims.
Great, then it's settled. We take the and Makubli's looking around. We'll take the scrolls. And Torkner's like, ugh.
Shotgun. I hop in the cart.
At least the scrolls are light.
Shotgun.
Shotgun. What?
Yeah, the scrolls are lighter. It'll be easier on the mule.
You brought a shotgun?
What's a shotgun?
I'm
Oscar,
already
is that one of your
having-
new inventions?
I'm pretty sure it's when you take a carbonated beverage and you stick a knife in it.
Like a
There's a
tall
lot.
glass of mead. I know the type.
A lot here. Yeah,
Oscar, don't you remember
No idea
Quentin
what
would
we're talking about.
shotgun all the time?
That's right. You know who shotgunned the most though? It was Lemon. I think she was able to throw back quite a few
There
drinks.
you go, Lemon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lemon and Boomy. Lemon and Boppy.
Use
Poor
thimbles
Boppy.
of mead.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so we're taking the scrolls. Everybody okay with Makubli's choice?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
We go to roll 20.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to switch us over, but I'm going to describe what you see before I do pull the web page up. So you travel for weeks now, right? It's been a long journey through the Underdark. You've passed some smaller companion outposts, try to avoid any sort of drow cities, and you find your way on the opposite end of the Middle Dark, a place called Web's, or not Web's Edge, geez, not Web's Edge. You're still a few days away from Web's Edge. Torkner, as he's, you're walking alongside the wagon, says, "We're about to come to an outpost." And Makubli's like, "An outpost?" "Yeah, there's an outpost that's been here for a few weeks now, for a few months now. Some of our informants found it, but shouldn't be a problem. We've greased a few elven palms before." And now you can see it up in the distance. It's lit up, actually. There are lights. They're very dim. There's also the glow of the fungus that's up on all the walls. It's like sort of phosphorescent fungus that keeps lighting some of these pathways. I assume, since some of you are human, you might want to have light sources, maybe a torch or something like that. Maybe a lantern hanging on the wagon. I don't know, but as long as we have
light
something.
on a bunch of stuff.
Oh, okay, perfect. So then we'll cast light on something, maybe a piece of the front of the wagon so that there's a way for the mule to see. And the outpost is ahead of you. Let me describe it to you. Okay. Can't find my own notes here. Here we go.
While we're looking for the notes, big shout out to Wayne. Thank you for the channel memberships.
Oh, Wayne.
Oh.
He's-
Mm-hmm. And
So
don't forget
good.
to like and subscribe.
Wayne is
Smash that like button.
Wayne is just a treasure. Honestly, he's a great guy. He's been with the channel for a long time. Thank you, Wayne. Appreciate the 10 gifted memberships. Always appreciate that. Okay, so here's what happens. You approach down a narrow passage as the cavern kind of gets a little smaller, but almost as quickly as the passage got smaller, it then opened up into a bigger, wider cavern. The air here is pretty thick. You can almost feel like moisture coming from the air. And you can see the path is blocked. There's a big, like, wooden post gate that kind of stops at a big crevice. You can see a big crevice straight ahead. And there's a crevasse even. And there's some sort of liquid. You can hear it rushing down below, but you get a sense that it's not water. And it's rushing down in that crevice. You can't see it, again, because mostly that wooden gate is preventing anyone from accidentally falling over into it. On your left-hand side, you can see what looks like a small little outpost. It looks like it was made relatively recent. It's not something that's like been there or ancient, falling apart. It looks relatively new, but quickly built. You can see a tall drow official step forward from outside of the opened. It's like got a garage door almost with like a portcullis. That's open, and inside you can see a wagon inside, similar to the size of yours, one that would maybe have cargo. And you can see some other drow inside, kind of searching through the wagon, 2 other drow. The one that steps out, this tall officer, is a woman. You can see her sharp features. She's got like that very drow-esque chin, cheekbones, and you can notice her color of her skin, that very dark purplish skin. She calls out, "Halt, by order of the Spider Queen. All travelers must submit to inspection." Torkner says to everybody, as like still kind of out of earshot, he says it low, and he says, "This is strange." He goes, there's an inquisitor here. And he's kind of mentioning this because of the woman. And he says, "Anything I've heard about this outpost was that there's a bunch of bumbling drow fools here. Easy to bribe. We may be in trouble."
If she's doing the inspections, I don't think I'm going to mind too much.
And give me let's see. We'll do an Arcana check here. Everyone who feels like they would know something about drow magic can make it. So probably only Oscar and Boomy, maybe Lucius.
Oh, sorry. Can you just tell me how many guards were there? How many inspectors at the gate?
Well, right now there's the one woman who's the Inquisitor. He called her, and then 2 people, 2 drow males in the back inspecting from the garage. And I might as well switch us over to our Roll20 screen at this point.
Okay.
I want to kind of duck behind the wagon away from the drow, and then sort of just fade into the environment.
Okay.
In a roguish sort of way.
Absolutely, in a roguish sort of way.
And do we have enough time to sort of dress like pilgrims? Like we put some like.
Surely knowing that we were coming up to this outpost, if that was our plan, if that's our cover, surely we would have gotten dressed for the.
Yeah, of course. And Torkner knew about it. So if you are you posing as pilgrims or prisoners? I forget.
Pilgrims.
Pilgrims.
Pilgrims?
Yeah.
Praise Uloth.
Okay. Lulth.
That's it.
Make sure you know who you're talking about, Makubli says.
Is there cover, or is it just wide open here?
So because of the Roll20, you can't see some of the areas here. So I'm going to make it a little more obvious here. Let me open the door here. So that's like the door, the front entrance, and the other entrance is up here. This is like the garage area to the north. This area is the garage, and that's where the 2 people are, and you'll see the Inquisitor come out to meet you. And there's 2 drow behind her, but they're inspecting a wagon. I'm just showing you their tokens very briefly right now, but they're actually in the garage, whereas you are outside with her.
But there's no, this is like wide open in front of this outpost. Nothing.
I'm going to give you all a little bit of light help here because I think Roll20 can let me do that. Let me place lights. There are some lights on this place. So there's like a light there. There's a light here, a light here.
Oh, nice.
There's a light over here, and There'll
Oh,
be
cool.
lights.
This is much better.
There will be lights. There will be light here and here.
Is that
And
a
yeah.
lake of acid? What the hell is that?
Yeah. So you can kind of see it from your vantage point. Maybe we'll say there's a lantern right there, maybe. Yeah. Okay. I'll put the lights out there.
Wow.
Okay. So now you see, it looks like there's a bridge up against the chasm. There is a wooden post fence that you can see lining there so that nobody accidentally falls over. This rickety wooden bridge held up by chains is traversing the chasm. Beneath, you can smell it. It's some sort of acid. It's hard to tell exactly what, but maybe if you were to get closer, Oscar, you have the expertise to know if this will be good or bad if you fall into it. But you get a sense it's going to be bad in some degree.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So, the woman
As
says,
we-
halt, by the order of the Spider Queen.
Okay,
And you say... What do you say?
As we start to like as she says that, I want to kind of like under my breath mutter to everybody, relax. I can handle this.
But what I'm asking is, over in like this area or whatever, this whole area is just wide open. There's no way to hide or anything.
Yeah, the walls here are basically... everything here is like a tunnel. So it's like a cave.
Okay.
And there aren't that many like because these are usually traversed as roads, like they're networks of roads. There's nothing like obscuring here. It's not like a random
okay.
trees, or there's no outcropping of rocks. Everything's been cleared. And to your left, you can see the cave wall just kind of goes up.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Can I? What kind of wagon? Can I slip under the wagon? Can I hold on to the underside of the wagon?
Certainly, yeah. I
Okay.
wouldn't even
I'm going
need
to
a
dive
check.
under the wagon and be inconspicuous there.
give me a stealth check to be inconspicuous.
We'll see how
All
I
right,
did.
solid snake over here.
Yeah,
I am 23
Yeah.
inconspicuous.
great, excellent.
Okay, and if I can kind of just latch onto it so I can
Yeah,
look
absolutely.
right underneath, that's the plan. So they don't know I'm there. That's the idea.
The officer, the Inquisitor, says to you, I'm Inquisitor Shinlara Fane. Bring your wagon here to the garage.
Did we get
Check
a name for this outpost?
This outpost? No. Mm-mm.
Okay.
The Web's Edge is where you're ultimately heading, but
Right.
this is just some tollway.
How long have we been on the road?
Maybe 2 weeks at this point.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's at this point, though, that, Sable will... Maybe we'll say Sable's been the one driving the wagon. She'll look to all of you to say if that's okay. We'll bring the wagon into the garage. Shall we?
Yes.
All right. Giddy up, little horsey. And she directs the mule into the garage, as she calls it. I'm going to move the actual wagon. I'm just going to put it in there, and she'll step off. Now, all of you can go in through the garage. She motions you to go through the garage. Although you can see there is a door open here that looks like a front door that leads into some sort of like a common area.
I'll probably follow what this person's saying for right now.
Sure.
Is this the garage?
That is the garage, yes. Mm-hmm.
I want to look at
Tomato.
her. This is the Inquisitor, yes?
Yes.
For any sort of to see if they have like spell components, or if they're a wizard of some sorts, or spell.
Did you give me the Arcana check?
I did not. They did. I mean,
I
well,
got a
I
24
gave an
on that.
Arcana check, but they gave much better Arcana checks.
Okay.
I only got a 10.
Oh, Boomy and Oscar got
Yeah.
20 plus.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so you have a lot of, and by the way, I have a picture of her. I'm going to share it with you in the chat of Roll20. Okay. She does carry along this like two-forked or two-pronged staff, and she does look like a spellcaster of some sort, Lucius, but you don't know exactly what methods she casts. But damn, Oscar, you've maybe even faced Inquisitors before. They have a magical ability granted to them by Lolth to discern whenever they hear a lie. This is this is not something they can just like turn on and off either. They know every single time, as long as they understand the language, they can know if somebody is lying. This is bad. You never see one of these at like a toll house. There's just like, typical drow soldiers. She is here, and this is a problem for you all, and you know it. Do you inform everybody as you walk, as a group still?
Yeah, I guess if I knew that was an Inquisitor as we were coming in, I would have definitely.
Okay. Well, we'll just bring it back for a second. As Sable's bringing the wagon in, the rest of you are slowly walking behind it. You have a chance to chat. Go ahead, discuss.
I don't even oh, it's an Inquisitor. That's bad news. I know you said you have a plan, but whatever plan you have is not about to work. The only plan we might have involves a few crossbow bolts to the head, because if you try to lie to her, she will know.
McCoobly's like,
Not a lie, just a charm. Can they be charmed?
It's an
you would know that drow are very hard to charm. They have mechanically advantage against it, but you would just know that it's never smart to try to charm a drow.
I've got no plan. The plan is gone. The plan is null. There's no plan. I've got contents of a plan, but no plan.
We've lost Mike.
No. Where's Mike?
I'm back.
He's back. We're good.
My browser reset.
Okay.
What I said before I cut off was, she's an elf. Good luck with that. You can try. I don't think it's going to work.
There's no plan. The plan is gone.
And McCoobly is going to be like, what? What are we going to do?
How many did I see on the way in?
You saw 2, but did you look at the door that was open to the common area by any chance? Yes.
I saw something in there.
So maybe Lucius just takes, because he's such a badass. He doesn't care about any of this. He just walks around. He takes a look through the door. You hear the sound of conversation happening. And Lucius, can I just move your token? Or you want to move your token just so you can see the door on the left-hand side?
Oop.
Inside, you see about 7 other drow. Look like they would be the typical maybe guards at this toll house rather than the Inquisitor. These are probably the typical guards, and they're kind of like chilling, eating, playing some card games, gambling. They seem to be doing, not work related things right now.
Uh-huh.
Whereas the other 2 look like they are working feverishly to check through your cargo now.
Got it.
So you saw that, and then you had that conversation with the group. You know that there's in total maybe like 9 drow here, not including the Inquisitor.
So if I had time, I would tell them there are at least 6 others, but they are just plain guards.
I'm just letting you know, if this goes south, don't hesitate to draw your blades.
You also noticed one thing about the bridge is that right now there is a barricade in front of it. So going through it will not be something you could just like make a quick dash for. You'll need to remove the barricade before you do anything else. Did I just lose light?
Yeah,
everywhere?
it just went dark on Roll20.
Weird. Why?
Is it because I moved my character or something?
No, that shouldn't happen.
I can still see where I
can
am.
still see as well.
Yeah,
Came back. There we go. That was weird.
I'm going back to the garage.
Going back to the garage. Oh, yeah, that's right, because your character wasn't there. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's why. Okay.
We'll just keep your character here for a minute. There we go. Just here
Got it.
for a minute. You're in
That's
the
fine.
garage. Don't worry about it. So again, there's a barricade here. So you notice that. So you know that if you make a run for it without clearing that, that's going to be a problem. The Inquisitor says to you all, who's in charge of this caravan? And McCoobly will look to all of you, takes like a big gulp, and he's like, I am. McCoobly Key, at your service, and puts his hand out. and she does not shake it. She doesn't even look at his hand. And she says, "Come with me to my office. We have to discuss." And he's like, "Discuss, what exactly?" "Just a couple of merchants heading on our way. These are pilgrims. Pilgrims, correct? All of you? You are, right? What's your name again?" He points to Oscar.
Oscar looks at Charles and he just sighs heavily and he goes, "Charles, are you ready?"
Charles is like, "Vroom, vroom."
Good. Attack mode.
What?
This episode, everybody dies.
Oh, the TPK starts. It feels like they're.
This is a
Let's
bottle episode.
go.
It really is. It's just one of those episodes.
I
that's
told
just
you not to lie.
You always want to start a combat at 10:42.
We are going to pause it here and come back to you next
Ooh.
week to see the rumble at the toll house. What's going to happen between this newly forged group of heroes and some of the mightiest the drow have to offer. Thank you for watching tonight, everybody. My God, this was a fantastic introduction to the chapter, I think. This group, and I'm so happy to see that you guys did the same thing. You really came right into your own. These characters feel like they haven't missed a beat. Especially Skeggy and Eric. You guys did great for not playing.
We haven't missed a beat.
We have missed no beats.
It's like we just played a month ago.
Yeah,
It's just amazing. You can
It's
hardly notice.
Thank you so much, guys, and I really appreciate it. And this has been a really special labor of love. This campaign, I am having such a good time. This group is way better than the last one. I can tell you that for sure. So,
well, CJ. So
yeah, well,
any group without CJ.
yes. Thank you for watching. Poor
Wonder,
CJ.
Mike, you know what I mean.
We love you.
I'm in a game with CJ right now. Some things just don't change.
That's right. Some things
we love
don't.
you, CJ. We don't love Brunder, but we love you.
That's right. Tune in next week for another adventure of Vecna, Eve of Ruin. Also, again, 2 weeks we're going to be doing Strahd, so check in on Strahd, catch up if you need to, and check down below in the description for all the links to everything we talked about today. Mike's going to get me a link for some of his novel, and we'll post it all after the stream ends. Thank you again, Wayne, for the donations, and everybody else. We will see you all on the tabletop. Have a wonderful night. Bye.